now. We've been doing it for far too long, and unfortunately, hopefully, we can move away from it a little bit soon. But right now to this evening, just so that our session flows as we always try and make it, please do make sure that your mic is turned off when you're not chatting. Obviously, don't let that stop you from getting involved in the conversation. We do want to hear from you this evening, and you can do that by jumping in the chat box and popping something in there, and then I can ask you to turn your mic on and everything else, or raise your hand and just ask to jump in. But if you can keep your mic off while other people are contributing, then it just helps us a little bit with our chat moving forward. Obviously, the format for our event very similar as always. If you've attended the Met before, then you'll know how it works. If you've not, then let me tell you. It's going to be led by myself and supported by bid manager Jason Maxwell, and of course Max Freer from One of a Kind, and most importantly, of course, you guys. It's lovely to see you all back. So welcome to the April Met on what is an incredibly exciting and special week. You know, the week that the UK starts to ease the lockdown restrictions. We prepare for reopening. Today's event is a conversation with you guys to gather your thoughts on how we progress forward and hear the views and news from around the screen, because I think we're all probably really interested. We'll all look around going, who's managed to get in a hairdresser's, who had a beer last night, that sort of thing already. And yeah, I'm both of those. And you know, and obviously looking forward to find out how the businesses are getting back on track as well. Our guest contributors this evening, we've got Lisa Beattie from Stockton-on-Tees Borough Council. We've got Matt Boxall, the General Manager of Wellington Square and Castlegate Shopping Centre, who we do check in with each month. We always like to know what's happening down there. And we're delighted to be joined by Richard Drake, who is from Drake the Bookshop, which I'm sure a lot of you are well aware of, which is going to be our featured business in the spotlight this month. So we're really chuffed that Richard could join us. As always, we've been brought together by that instrumental force who's had a beautiful beard trim and everything, is looking fresh-faced, and he has a selfie light and everything this evening. He's really prepared. This, of course, the man who is shaping and helping to change Stockton High Street and shaping the conversation we have. It's business leader Jason Maxwell of Stockton Business Improvement District. So I'm going to swing over to Jason in just a second. If you have just joined us, Sean, lovely to have you in with us this evening. It's just welcoming a few more people. As I say, make sure you keep your mics off as we're going through, and if you want to jump in the chat box at any time, please do, and let us know. I know Danny is here from the Hampton as well. Lovely to see you, Danny. I know you are stepping in for John this evening, but we'll be chatting about the Hampton later, because I think we're all very keen to know when we might be able to get back down there. Because obviously, for the first time in months, pub gardens, shops, hairdressers all have reopened across England, as the rules were also eased across the rest of the UK as well. You might have seen shoppers flocking to the UK high streets. There was big queues around the whole of the UK. I mean, Primark, I saw that on some of the news channels, and you know, absolutely incredible queues to go and get yourself a bargain hoodie. But I think we've seen it all around, and I think people are just very excited to be back out. Other people take advantage, obviously, the gyms, beauty salons reopening. So Jace, I know you're a keen beauty salon attendee.
And the gym.
And the gym, obviously. How have the last few days been?
More of the beer garden, I'll be perfectly honest, than the gym or the beauty salon, but that's a different kettle of fish. You know what? The sun's been shining. On Sunday evening when I saw the snow and everything else, my heart absolutely sank, because I just thought, you know, everyone's been waiting so long to come back to the high street, to go to the beer garden, to go and have the hair and everything done. And then come Monday, when the sun was shining, I just thought, actually, there's obviously some sort of divine intervention that says, come and fill our high streets again, and have a wonderful time visiting some of our fantastic businesses. The high street on Monday looked brilliant. As I say, the sun was shining. We had loads of people kicking about. And I think Matt Boxall will touch probably a little bit on numbers of people coming into Wellington Square and Castlegate. We helped a number of businesses reopen with pavement licenses and different things. So it was absolutely awesome just to see businesses open, people having coffees, queues. I came down West Road about 8:30 to go into the office, and Sean and I were meeting first thing on Monday morning, and there must have been 15 people queued outside of Guy's Barbers just waiting to get in. It was just brilliant to see people. And no offense to, it's lovely to see everybody on Zoom, but God, it was nice to see people, and that's the big thing. See the businesses open, and it just seems like a weight has been lifted off people's shoulders when they can actually get back, be face to face, and touch and feel the things that they're actually buying. It's fantastic news.
Absolutely, and I'm sure we can all echo that. I think everyone kind of looks a bit more smiley today, actually, because I know sometimes, over the last few months that the Met it's been hard because we've been going through some really difficult times, and we've got people chirping in the chat already. Michelle saying a big afternoon to happy afternoon. And Catherine Barnes saying happy sunny afternoon. It's lovely to have you with us again, Catherine, as always. And it's just, I think that the sort of positivity, it's great to hear that the high street is also reflecting that as well, Jace. Now, I'd like to bring in Lisa Beattie, who is the Principal Economic Development Officer at Stockton-on-Tees Borough Council. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon once more. It's lovely to see you. There's been a wide range of support available for businesses. What is it you're specifically looking to support in the local business community right now as we're moving forward?
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you all again. Yes, so we've obviously supported quite a lot of businesses through the restrictive periods. So it's good to see everyone now is back open and operating again as they should. We've got the Restart scheme that's currently available, which is the government scheme for business ratepayers. So if you haven't yet been contacted by our business rates team, or you haven't yet put an application in, do have a look on our website, and there's loads of different schemes that are available, different grants available. And it's just in order to try and help you guys as business owners get back on your feet and reopen. Another thing that we're looking at is trying to replicate the Restart scheme, but for non-business ratepayers. So to support those businesses who might not pay the rate, but have things like rent instead. So that's something that we're just finalising at the minute, and that should be going live within the next week. So again, just keep a lookout on our website for that one.
Excellent. So Restart scheme, if no one has got involved with it, make sure to get on the website, get involved, find the support that is out there from the council. And how have you found the last couple of days? What's the I'm probably going to ask everyone this as we go through, how have you found it personally, and also, how's the council found it all?
Well, from a council point of view, it's been very busy. We've been communicating with a lot of different businesses and trying to support, obviously, businesses to reopen. Personally, I think it's been great, same as Jason. It's been really good to see people out and about again. I've had a trip to the local pub myself, so that's been really good just to see everybody. So I think this is the turn. It seems that we're getting back to a bit more of normality, and everyone seems to be enjoying it. And like you said, everyone's smiling, the sun's shining, so it's a great day.
Brilliant. I mean, there's nothing quite like that first drink, is there, when that you haven't poured yourself and that's not coming from a can or a bottle. When that pint arrives, you're like, oh, it's like you can just hear the angels playing their harps as it arrives. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for that, and thanks for updating us. And I'll just say, make sure you get in touch with Lisa if you'd like to know anything. Jason has popped the website in the chat there as well, which is all about the support for businesses, restart grants, everything like that. So if you haven't yet looked on there, and you don't think that there's maybe something for you, then make sure to check it out, because as Lisa said there's so many things available, and really is a great way to kickstart your business and get it restarted after lockdown. So Lisa, thank you very much for popping along as always. Lovely to speak to you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to swing over to one operator who has been very busy, and that is Matt Boxall, the General Manager of Castlegate and Wellington Square. Matt, it's lovely to see you again. We love having your support at the Met every single month, and we've been checking in with you over the last few months. And I think you were quite often saying that you'd been too busy at times because you were hoping that people were actually following restrictions a bit more and stuff. But I'm guessing it's been a bit different the last couple of days.
It has. It's absolutely fantastic to see Stockton buzzing again. Footfall's really positive on both of my schemes. It's good to see people like retailers open the doors, brushing the doorways down, actually selling some product. You know, it's fantastic, and sales across both sides have been really good. Footfall, as I said, it has been really, really positive as well. You know, we took almost 14,000 people through Castlegate on Monday, and nearly 10,000 through Wellington Square. So people are returning slowly. I think there's a positivity around the town to get back and shop. So yeah, everything's really positive. I've had a haircut. I've had a few beers with Sam on Monday night, didn't I, Sam? You know, so yes, it's a good time to be back and open. Obviously, the weather's helped a little bit. The market helped yesterday in and around the town, but yeah, from our side, it's really positive just to get those in. Most of the independents open, and the non-essential retailers that actually, you know, that need the business and need you know, they haven't got the national backing. So yeah, it's a positive time for us at Castlegate and Wellington Square.
What sort of an extra buzz has that brought to the centres? You know, having the independents open and stuff. Because as you say, the you know, the big stores and stuff and the essentials have kind of been ticking away there. But I imagine it's just brought a whole other sense of excitement and optimism.
Yeah, it's in some ways it's probably brought a different dynamic to Stockton as well, and you know, those people that would come and do their essential shopping are now probably coming and looking at clothing, looking at jewellery, and you know, shopping in JD Sports, going to our independents as well. You know, it's great to see like Lisa's open the doors at Elizabeth's, and you know, every other independent it's in my centres is open, and trade is buoyant. It really is buoyant, and as I said, footfall is on a. It's not where we were pre sort of COVID, but it's not far away, to be quite honest with you.
Oh, that's great news. Now, I'm informed, Matt, that you've been busy relocating your Castlegate Market Hall businesses across to the former H&M unit in Wellington Square. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Well, we're in the process of obviously closing down Castlegate, which will probably start, you know, in the not too distant future, probably early 2022. We'll unfortunately close the centre, and that gives us a proposition to kind of do something with a couple of the entity units over at Wellington Square. You know, we've got Elizabeth, as I said, Elizabeth is moving into a new purposely built unit. Certainly, most of it's purposely built for the guys there. We've got Blue Corn Bakery moving across there as well in the next couple of weeks into the corner unit at Unit 21, just near the management centre in KFC. But the biggest thing that's about to go to planning is the split of the old H&M units, which was 3 floors of retail, big space. It's going to be very difficult to fill. And what the planning application is to make it in either 6 or 7 smaller units, which what we will do is we'll move our market hall, or some of our market hall tenants into those units, the ones that can obviously afford the rents and the service charges and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a real positive time to start discussing, you know, the move across to Wellington Square for those tenants.
Excellent. And you know, the exciting plans continue with Stockton High Street. You know, it's been all over national media as we've talked about, and I think even since we've last been at the Met, there's been more excitement, and it really is leading the way. And you're very much at the centre of that as well, Matt. Yeah, look, I think the news that the council have put out and the press release the council put out has been phenomenally well received by a lot of the public, and I think for us as sort of what we're doing, it's about, yes, we're going to spend some money, but yes, we're not going to spend people's council taxes on doing and moving these retailers across. And I think that's what people need to try and understand, and are understanding that it's not Joe Public's council money, it's actually government funded money that's paying for the relocations and you know, the nice new shop fit outs like Ramsden's have got, and you know, we're putting into Elizabeth's as well. The money we're putting into Elizabeth's, or the council put into Elizabeth's, council put into Blue Corn, and it's really good to see. Excellent, Matt. Thank you very much for updating us as always. No problem. It's always exciting stuff. Whenever we swing over to you, there's always something new. So we appreciate the support, and we love chatting to you. No problem. Is Shoal Spears in the room yet? If you are, just wave. Nope. I can't see Cheryl. No, that's fine. I'm going to cross over. I'm actually going to cross to Lisa Halligan, if that's okay, Lisa. Matt mentioned you there, and he sort of set you up perfectly, Lisa. So I thought, do you know what? You've dusted off your doors. You're ready to reopen. Elizabeth's embroidery. How's it been for the last couple of days?
Yeah, it's been really positive. So we decided, well, we've done a big rebrand, and with that rebrand, we've actually basically shut the doors to our Richardson Road store for school uniforms, and we're having the Richardson Road store as our business hub. So it means that basically all of our 150 school parents, from the parents that are going to be ordering in the uniform for the summer, is all going to be sent over to Wellington, because before we've had a little bit of a split. But we've took that leap, especially with our new store, which we'll be moving into very, very soon, which we're really excited about. So today we've just been having some people coming up to size up the signs and things like that. But the footfall's been fantastic, the reception's been wonderful, and people are exactly like everybody's just said, they're excited to be back out there. They're excited to be able to touch and feel the garments, to be able to come and get sized up, and to be able to have that human interaction. So it's all fantastic news as far as we're concerned.
Oh, positive. Brilliant. Lisa, thanks so much for stepping up there when I'm throwing things at you. You're like, oh no, I'm going to turn my mic on now. As always, I say, if you do have a question or anything else you'd like to throw in, then by all means drop it in the chat box, and I'll try and come to you, or raise your hand. I'd like to swing over to Tracy now. Tracy Shorten from Nationwide. I'll just move over the screen there. She is a branch manager at Nationwide. Tracy, it's lovely to have you with us. How is business? How's it all going? And how are you glad, obviously, to see the high streets back open? I mean, I think that's a silly question, really, isn't it? But, you know.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely thrilled to bits that the high streets now back open. Obviously, Nationwide's been open all through this pandemic. So although we have been in lockdown, a lot of our members don't think we have. So we have been busy all the way through. But this last week, since Monday, has been phenomenal. We've had a lot of the old regulars that have been obviously self-isolating, have been in the branch and talking about how busy the high street is and just how pleased they are to get out and about. Absolutely.
And as you say, I mean, you've kind of had to work all the way through anyway, because as you say, people are like, oh, Nationwide has to carry on and stuff. So, you know, how's it been for yourself? I mean, does it feel like nothing's really changed, or it feels a bit more positive though?
It's loads positive. I mean, you know, it was like I said, we've worked all the way through, but come lunchtime, there was nowhere to go. You couldn't really go out anywhere because there was nowhere open. So just little things like that. I mean, it's just great to have the high street. And looked out on Wednesday, and I've never seen so many people in Stockton in my life. It was like they were everywhere. So it was really good.
Oh, that's great, Tracy. And it's great you can actually go out for a coffee and get some lunch now as well. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sick of having packed lunches, to be honest. I was ready to get back out into the high street and have dinner. Tracy, thanks so much for joining us. It's lovely to see you as always. Now, one of our regulars here on the Met attends every month, Sophie Pileski, who's from Archer's Law. It's lovely to see you, Soph. Thanks as always for supporting us. How have you found this week? What differences have you noticed for the law firm?
I think from a kind of office point of view, we've maybe had a few more people in, and I think people generally feel a bit more comfortable attending the office, whereas before they were still a little bit apprehensive. So that kind of general feeling's quite nice. I guess the biggest change and the biggest kind of positive step for us is the BD side of things and being able to go out a little bit more. I know a lot of the staff are keen to meet up with contacts, and we're really trying to push the kind of, well, obviously staying local and supporting local businesses by going out for coffees, by going out for lunch, and booking space in pubs and things like that. And I think a lot of them have happily kind of adopted that in a safe way. A lot of them have kind of contacts that they've known for years. So we're kind of slowly getting back out there and supporting the local businesses where we can. But yeah, I think just generally, like everyone said, it's just a nice positive feeling to this week, I think, and going into the weekend and next week, I think it'll only just kind of get better.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds great, doesn't it? You can use it as an excuse. It's like we need to book some business lunches and some business beers because we've got to support local. That's what we're all about, and that's what's been, part of the Met and part of Stockton Bid is all about as well. Sophie, it's lovely to hear from you. I know. Normally, I just have you sit silent there every week, but we really do value Archer's law and your contribution every month. Now, Jace, I know. I think you had your hand up there. Maybe wanted to jump in. I think I missed you in the dark. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I've moved. Sam was like, "Jace, move because I can't see you because you sat in the dark." It was just to clarify, not to clarify, but just to some of the things that Matt said and Tracy from Nationwide, that from our point of view, when the non-essential retail was closed, the banks have done such a good job in actually staying open and managing people and those types of things. And Matt Boxall, when he was talking about, Bluecorn Bakery moving, actually some of the work that they've done behind the scenes to get people moved across. Bluecorn, I put out a post on social media about Bluecorn the other day that's gone to about 10,000 people now, and the work that Ramsden's have done to move across, and actually some of the sort of the more national retailers, some of those stores now look amazing. And I think some of the work that they've done behind the scenes and Lisa and her team as well have just been absolutely first class. And I think the more people that move down towards Wellington Square, the footfall will just become more and more and more. So I think it's just going to become just such a cool place to go. And the Bluecorn site looks absolutely fantastic. So it's just to say well done actually to some of the work that goes on behind the scenes that actually generally people don't see, but real hats off to those guys. I think it's really important to say those types of things. And I know Lisa's there, and I went and had a chat with Lisa, and Lisa's got some new team members that had never worked in retail before, and their first day of opening was a brand new staff member that had never been in retail, never done another day's work, and was not, if I say reticent to see public come back in after you've never worked before when there's a pandemic going on. Just really, really good job to her and all of the team and everybody else that's managed to get open. And Richard, exactly the same. I know Richard's been working. We're going to come to Richard shortly, but just to keep things going through that lockdown period, it's just amazing to see them back open again. It's just wonderful. And they've all done such a good job.
I think it's interesting, Jace, so speaking to you, because I think a lot of people don't like to big up the incredible work that they've done behind the scenes. They've just kind of gone, well, I've got on with it and done that. You see that, particularly as the bid manager, you're going in there and actually seeing all that work and the graft that has got us to this point. As you say, people flooded back to Stockton and they were like, oh, this is amazing. Everywhere looks great. All the shops are done. I guess, you've seen that graft that's gone in over the last year just to stay afloat, really.
Then that's really important because these guys, not only the independent businesses, because we do focus a lot on independent businesses, but we have some national businesses as well that are fantastic. But the independent businesses, that it's not just about taking money across the till. It's putting money on the, it's feeding the families. It's doing all of those things, and the worry and the mental health issues that people might be going through, and all of those issues that they have just got on and dealt with. They haven't particularly mourned about it or anything like that. They've just got on and made the best of a bad situation. And, nobody more so than people like Richard that we're going to speak to shortly, and Lisa, and Jane's kicking about somewhere on my screen. And you know what? It's just amazing to see how well they've just got on and just done and worked hard and got through as best they can. And it's now that people need to get back and support our indie street heroes and go and support what they do, because it's really, really important. And you know how passionate I am. And I was chatting to Scott Makin the other day, and he was like, yeah, I'd forgotten how passionate you were. We just need people back onto this high street, and they've done such a good job in that. So apologies for taking up more of your time, but it's really important that we get across how well these guys have done to get back over.
Not at all, Jace, not at all. You never take up our time. You've always got a fantastic point. And as you say, always passionate, always singing the praise of all our fantastic businesses, including, as you say, you mentioned Jane there, Jane from Hi-Fi Sound. It's lovely to see you, Jane. I know we featured Jane as one of our SME business in the spotlight a couple of months back, and we are going to be heading over to Richard very soon as well to highlight the fantastic work that he's been doing with everyone down at their fantastic bookshop as well. Now, I'd like to cross over to James Barwick, who is from Middlesbrough College. James, it's lovely to have you with us this evening. Now, going forward, I guess finally, employer engagement is going to become higher up the agenda as we sort of gradually ease back to a sense of normality. Now, I know it's going to take a little time, but I guess soon we've got to prepare and start adapting to that new landscape. You know, I guess a lot of the focus has been on getting to this moment. And you kind of like, I'm sure that a lot of businesses are already thinking about the future, but, you know, this is, you know, sort of employer engagement is one of those key parts. James, what's been the number one issue that you're sort of having to deal with in order to support employers get back to sustainable footing in terms of employee engagement?
First of all, nice to see everyone again. It's great to see things sort of reopening this week. It's been sort of a very long, dark winter, hasn't it? I suppose in terms of employer engagement, it's been, as you can imagine, January, February was very, very quiet, with a lot of sectors sort of shutting down completely. But like I say, I think with employers especially, it's sort of the time we've had over the last year, it's the uncertainty, isn't it? When you think about it, sort of we're reopening again, everything's sort of going back to normal, as everyone says now. But it's thinking about, you know, employers are looking to be positive and take people on board again. But also, again, they've obviously got that thought in the back of the head, thinking to themselves, well, could we be locked down again at any point? And again, it's you've got to think about it that way in the sense of the year that we've had. It is a possibility. But again, I think it's been brilliant this week to see a lot of employers are taking new people on, and especially from my experience as well. I'm getting a lot of queries about people coming back to us and saying, look, have we got people we can take? And again, it's important to look at this from sort of, I get both ends of this in my role, because again, I work with kind of students as they come along through the process. And again, working with the employers to get them into those roles. And from sort of an employee perspective, and again, a little bit of a personal perspective here as well, I think we can all relate to the fact that when we were, especially this lockdown this time round, for me, it felt sometimes a bit like Groundhog Day, because again, with everything being shut, it's kind of, you go to work, you come home, you go, right, what do I stick on Netflix tonight, sort of thing. And you go back to work and it almost becomes like, what are we working for, doesn't it? And again, it's sort of really hard to stay positive in those situations. But like I say, now everything's starting to open back up again. I found it, like, especially last few weeks, has been just really, really positive. Everyone's sort of happy, smiling again. It's been amazing to see. And I think the key thing is just a motivation perspective, really. Again, when things are open, when we've got things to do, it keeps us all motivated. And especially with this week, with, you know, pubs, gyms, all those kind of things opening back up again, and hospitality, it gives everyone something to look forward to, doesn't it? Again, we all work hard to earn our money, don't we? So again, it's nice to have those things to look forward to. And again, also, it's been hard for me to see people in terms of, you know, working with people on universal credit, on being on furlough. It's that difficulty for them as well, of being locked in for so long, all of a sudden having to motivate themselves and get over that initial anxiety of being back out in the open world again. So again, it's all, I mean, the question said the number one challenge, and I thought, actually, there's been so many issues sort of over the last few months, it was hard to think of one essentially. But again, I think it's just a case of I think what we need to remember is just keeping that positivity up and making sure that, you know, people have those motivations to keep themselves going. Especially, like I say, it's just been so amazing to see these last few weeks, employers being so positive about, you know, this time round, fingers crossed, hopefully we get out of it, and this is the last one that we have to come out of, if you know what I mean. So again, the challenge has been, well, especially over the last few months with this winter lockdown in particular, has been very, very different.
Brilliant. That's absolutely awesome. I mean, it's as you say, it's one. I mean, it was a bit of a loaded question. I'm sort of like, what's the one thing, James? Like, well, we have been in a global pandemic, Matt, and there's probably been a few things that's is going to really affect employer engagement going forwards and employee engagement and stuff. And it's just, yeah. Well, I mean, you know, thanks for that sort of summing it all up in kind of in one, despite the fact that I know there are probably a lot of different facets to it. So, James, it's always good to hear from you, and I'm sure you're there for a bit of advice if anyone needs it. We can get you at the college. So thank you very much, James Barwick, who's the employee engagement coordinator over at Middlesbrough College. Always lovely to see you, my friend. Now, a new feature for MetLife is the SME Business in Spotlight. We've done this a few times now, so you might be sort of getting to grips with what we do. It's where we big up a small business. Now, last month we featured the Northern Gift Shop of the Year. That was Lulu's personal gifts. We had a little tour of Lulu's, and it was wonderful. But behind every small business is an incredible, hard-working team, and that's what we like to do here on the Met. We like to celebrate them, as Jace was saying earlier. And then this month, our big up goes to the most magical little shop. It's Drake the Bookshop. It's located at 27th Silver Street, owned by Mel and Richard Drake. I'm pleased to say we're joined by Richard this evening. Now, just a little bit of background about Drake's. If you don't know their story, Richard, I'm going to slightly steal your thunder here and let everyone know a little bit about you, because in August 2014, the Drake family were en route to the Lake District. Jump in if I get any details wrong, Richard, of course. It was a lovely bank holiday weekend, and they stopped off in Penrith, and they thought, oh, I really could do with a coffee. You know, we're really excited about it. And they went to the Wordsworth Cafe and Bookshop. That was where they sort of discovered this beautiful marriage of coffee and books. And upon leaving it, they had the chat with the owners, Mel and Richard, discussed how that could be a sort of thing that they do. And it was from that idea, Richard, am I right in saying that eventually, through everything, finally in 2015, you informed the head of your department that you were going to leave teaching and try to figure out where to get loads of books from and how to sell them. Is that right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, Matthew, you may have just sort of seen him head by. It's all his fault. That was the bank holiday weekend, and we kind of muttered and ummed and ahed clearly repeatedly about it. And that Christmas break, Matthew just sort of turned around and went, "Well, are you going to do it then, or what?" And Mel and I looked at each other like, "What are you on about?" And he said, "Well, are you going to open this bookshop or what?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, you've just been going on and on and on about it ever since." So first day back, January 2015, I asked for a day, if I could kind of sneak out of school for a day and go and down to London on a course. And my head of department and friend asked me why, and so I was like, and then I did tell him, and I said, "Yeah, I'm quitting in August." And he went, "All right, okay." And I did it on the basis that if I'd not done it, I wouldn't have done it. I quit that first day back in the January, essentially, because otherwise I wouldn't have done it. I had no idea, and for those of you, I'm looking around, there are one or two of you who still know I have no idea, but I had no idea what to do, how to do it, where to get books. We had a lovely guardian angel by the name of Adrienne, who's since retired from the wholesale at Gardeners Books, and she took us under her wing. Every time we go past Weatherby Services, there's always a nice sort of warm, smiley glow, because that's where we first met Adrienne to kind of sign paperwork and do bits and pieces like that. And then since 2015 we've been selling books, and I'd love to show you around, but unfortunately, as you can see, I'm in my living room, so that's kind of a pointless access. But essentially, it kind of looks a bit like that, but kind of neater. That's essentially how the shop looks. Probably about as many books as there are on there, but that's kind of us really. It's now me and Mel and Jenna. I'm the one that does this bit because Mel absolutely hates doing this bit, but anything that is really, really good is either Mel or Jenna, and anything that is the most insane, ridiculous idea is me. And that's pretty
Excellent. Rich, it was lovely to have you with us. It is a fantastic story. I know Jace wants to jump in.
Of course. And that is exactly why we have independent businesses, because they just do, because they are passionate about what they do. They go absolutely over and above to find what their customers want. And I know we said it last time about, I always say Lulu's business, about Louise's business. But they find what their customers want and they go out of their way to give them what they want. And without that, well, are you going to do it, or what type attitude? We'd never get anywhere. And it's people like Richard that inspire other businesses to go on and do what they do. And it's really important that people like Richard and Jane inspire other people to go and follow their dreams, because eventually that's what it is. If it wasn't a dream, they wouldn't do it. He's not doing it because he's going to make £1 million a year. Not yet anyway, maybe next year, Rich. But they do it because they are passionate, and that's why we need to follow our independent businesses, because they're passionate about what they do. And that's why I love businesses like Richard's and Lou's and Jane's, because they're absolutely passionate about what they do, and it's amazing to see that.
There needs to be that mix of everything on the high street, but with the best will in the world, the chains can't duck and dive and turn around with the speed at which we can. I don't know about most of the others in other indie businesses, but I know the indie book industry went online last March, about the 24th. We already had a website, but that kind of changed to even more of a transactional website, and the whole of the book industry did that kind of pretty much overnight, and has been sort of looking very positively ever since, because that was the necessity.
I mean, that's one of the great things, I guess, Rich, because I was going to ask you how businesses, how you've been and how you are now. Obviously, now things are starting to open up. But as you say there, our independent business, what we saw so well is that a lot of the bigger companies were very much like that boat that got stuck in the Suez Canal the other week, and they started trying to adjust to the new arena of business that we had to do, and they couldn't quite do it, and they had to hire in some Dutch tugboats to start digging it out and all that sort of stuff. Whereas, small independent retailers like yourself managed to pivot very quickly and turn to maybe a more online offering, which I guess that, how has it been over the last year, and how do you feel going forward now everything is starting to open up for our retailers?
It's been kind of a bit bizarre. Yeah. I spent April, May and June driving around the northeast of England with our lockdown pharmacy bear, doing kind of deliveries to people who'd ordered books. And then we opened up again, and that was just insane and brilliant. And the other fabulous thing about, I am gonna say indies. I suspect it's possibly all shops to an extent, but the first customer we had back in June was exactly the same first customer we had back in on Monday. And God love him, he's a lovely bloke. It's a bit painful on a Tuesday afternoon at 2:00 when he rings again, asking me to spend 25-30 minutes finding 96 out of print books and all the rest of it. But he comes in and he comes in to have a natter as much as anything else. And that's what it's that community side of it, and it's that really important thing that he knows where we are, and he knows he can come in and say hi, and he knows he doesn't have to just disappear. And so the fact that he was, and he genuinely was, it's not just kind of a story of, he was the first time and he was the third this time. He was the first customer through the door both times, and that's what makes kind of businesses and smaller businesses sort of special as well. I need to hesitate and apologise to people, but I've whinged and moaned a bit recently because of how bloody busy I am. And I know independent businessman in whinging about being too busy during pandemic shock is not really a particularly good piece of level to have. I appreciate I've not got a massive amount of sympathy going around there for that, but it's been insane, in part because the online stuff has made such a big difference. I think the frustration is that conversations are over a period of an hour, because if someone comes in and says, have you got this book, or have you got that book, or have you got the other book, we can quickly go yes, no, yes, or yes, that's out of print, or we know it tomorrow, or whatever. But that in an email takes an hour, and that's been the big frustration of that. The way that people have been ordering and the way that we've all moved things around has been fantastic, and yeah, it's been an incredible year actually. And there've been a lot of positives as well. I always assumed that although we had a transactional website, if people wanted to buy online, there was a place people could go. I don't agree with anything they do, just saying. It scares me to death that people think it's a thing, but anyway. But apparently they don't. And even that whole idea of local and community has become an online thing as well. People don't want to go and support that site, but they might not have a bookshop nearby them or that shop nearby them, so they'll find one and they'll get in touch, and that's been massive. And so I think that's here to stay. And I think the other thing is this is here to stay. This whole Zoom stuff. I know we're not necessarily massive fans of it, and we've got a book group meeting 2 weeks' time. And if anyone sells blankets and rugs, let us know, because we probably will have send some people in your direction, because we're going to go to Rotner Park for our book club. It'll be absolutely bloody freezing, but everyone says, yes, let's do it, because it'll mean they can actually see some other human beings. But this will stay. We did an event before Easter with 10 authors, and a conservative estimate, I reckon we had 5,000 kids involved in it one way or another, which we would never have been able to do. We've done it with 2 lots of kind of like 500 or 600 kids, but 5,000 kids on you know, across 2 Zoom calls across the day, which was insane, and it was brilliant. But that's the bit where that's me doing that, because it's a really, really stupid idea, and it worked, and that's so, and I think what we'll do is we'll go with live events and the capacity to have sort of some people join via Zoom as well. So it's been a really interesting year. It hasn't been an easy year. We're all absolutely knackered. But I mean, Jen has done an absolutely stellar job of social media and trying to just keep the world knowing what books are around and about and things.
Yeah.
Has done a brilliant job as well as ever of just sort of keeping us kind of motoring in the right kind of direction. And I just rock up and go, would this be a stupid idea? And someone says yes, and I'll say, well, let's do it then. So
excellent. Well, Richard, it's fantastic to have you along this evening, and obviously, you know, we are celebrating your fantastic business. You are our SME business in the spotlight this month at the Met, so it's been a pleasure to have you with us. I know Michelle Ball, big fan, says I rarely get into the high street, but when I do my best to visit Drake's Bookshop. Everything from environment to atmosphere far outweighs any other place you can go to buy that book, either yourself or for that special gift. She also is interested in the book club as well. She wants a bit of info on the book club. I'm presuming we can just head over to your website, maybe.
Leave that with me. I will put a link in there. I'm gonna be all smug and fly the Stockton flag, because I think May the 13th is the date, but we've been shortlisted for Children's Bookseller of the Year. So we are kind of one of 9 of the quote unquote best children's booksellers in the country. So, you know, and that is a little bit us, but it is so much Stockton. I didn't know a huge amount about Stockton before we moved into the Enterprise Arcade, but the loyalty that Stocktonians show is insane. It is absolutely brilliant, and I will, as everyone who knows me, I will champion Stockton High Street until I am blue in the face, because it is absolutely amazing. And you know, people want to be there, and we've had people desperate for us to be open again, not because, well, partly because they want to have, you know, go around the shop, but because they're just desperate for us to be there at the end of all of this, and that is such a massive compliment.
Absolutely, Richard. Honestly, we could talk to you for hours, but I'm aware we've got about 10 minutes left, so I'm going to have to move on. But I think you are a firm favourite of everyone, as you say, across Stockton and also here in the Met as well. So there you go. Drake's the Bookshop is our SME business in the spotlight this month. Thank you so much, Richard, for talking us through your incredible business. Congratulations on the nomination as well. We wish you all the best with that. I'm sure you'll do absolutely wonderfully. Speaking of nominations, talking of SMEs and small business success, I'm delighted to update you that one of our very own companies here tonight has been shortlisted for the UK Small Awards by the Best British Business for their excellent service and innovative business model, and that is Ook, aka One of a Kind. And fortunately, they just happen to be here. Max, you must be absolutely over the moon to be shortlisted as one of the UK's best British businesses. Now, I know your, oh look, here we go, there it is. I know your business strategy was to be recognised as a small but mighty company. How do you feel?
Yeah, we're like really chuffed. We've been shortlisted under the UK Small Awards, and we've been shortlisted for Best British Business in the Service and Innovation Award. So yeah, I'm really chuffed with that.
Amazing. And I mean, when do we find out? When's the awards and all that? When we find out?
Yeah, so we've been shortlisted as one of 5 companies across the UK. It's across the entire UK cross sector, and we find out next month. And we've been shortlisted really for our creative and marketing services and the way we innovate our work for our clients. So yeah, we're like super chuffed.
Brilliant. Oh, well, we're absolutely over the moon for you. I mean, so much success this evening on the Mets. Obviously, we're supporting everyone as we can. Now, I know we were sort of keen here to obviously have a real positive evening, and it does feel like a different place. I know Jace was, I know you did want to sort of highlight the fact that obviously not everyone is back open yet. Some of our hospitality venues, the Arc, for example, some of the other pubs and bars not open until May. So while it does feel like a very positive week, there is still that hanging over us a little touch, but it's not long, is it?
No, not at all. And it's probably a good time to sort of ask Sean to say 1 or 2 words, because there are still, and we don't want to knock the positivity and all that type of stuff, because it is really positive, but there are still 1 or 2 businesses that aren't going to get open until May the 17th, and that are still people being furloughed and all of those types of things. So it is important that we just temper it a little bit. We're not fully open, and those beer gardens that are open and they're brilliant, and it's ever nice to visit them, but they can't get all of the staff back and all of those things. So somewhere like Arc, for example, I think, Sean, you're going to open back up 17th of May when you can open the buildings and those types of things.
Yeah, we've still got a little way to go, Jace, but it is really good to listen to all the good news stories today. And I can really relate to what Richard's saying there, because when we did open back up after the first lockdown, there was the first few people through the door. You could see it meant as much to them as it did to me to be back in the building. And there was some, like just to have a coffee and be with people, it was kind of like really special, and it was great. And I am a little bit it's double-edged for me. It's been really nice to be. I've been down in Stockton working this week and last week with yourself. I'm really looking forward to getting back in the building. We're doing we're opening up some of the administration offices next week, and I'm even happy about that. Just to have people on site will be really nice, and it probably means you might get your desk back, Jason. You'll stop whinging at me for pinching yours. So
it's been a nightmare. I've had my desk and my parking space, Nick. It's been an absolutely horrendous. When someone moves in and you think you just stay for a day, and then a week later they're still there, and you think that's a nightmare. It's not good. But you know what? One of the big things I'm looking forward to is getting back to the Hilton, and Danny sat there really quietly as well. I know we're running short of time and all those things, but I can't wait to get back to the Hilton. And actually, you remember when Sam and Max and some of the hosts gave us all a little glass of Prosecco, and we could all have a beer and a chat afterwards, and we went till 6 o'clock. That's what I miss. That's the thing that I miss more than anything else. Just chatting to all these lovely people face to face.
Absolutely. Well, Jace, that leads me perfectly on. Thanks for jumping in there, Sean, as well. If anyone doesn't know Sean, Sean's is our Stockton bid chairman, also the deputy CEO of Stockton Arc, and I think we're all very excited to get back down to the Arc as well, Sean. So thanks for jumping in there as well. It's always lovely to hear from you. And Jace, you bring me perfectly on to Danny, because I was going to swing over to Danny before we got to 5 o'clock this evening. I know it's seamless. Danny, obviously, as Jace said there, look, Zoom calls, all very nice. Yeah, I know we can sort of sit at home. We don't have to travel out of our homes, but I think we're all ready to come back to the Hampton by Hilton and have that glass of Prosecco and have that beer and have a bit of a laugh with people and have a bit of a chat after these events as well. So is there any sign of when we may be able to have a few people back on site?
We are in conversations at the moment, and we're hoping for the 17th of May, but we're just waiting for confirmation. But we're just as itching to get the doors back open and get people back in. And obviously, I think we all need a drink after all this, don't we? So yeah. So hopefully, from the 17th of May, we'll be able to have small groups back in the hotel.
Okay, so that might. Our next Met is scheduled in for the 20th of May. So watch this space is all I'll say. It may be too soon, we don't know, but we'll certainly be in conversation with yourself, Danny, probably instantly after this meeting to talk about what you mean by a small group and whether we can qualify as a small group that can have a little Prosecco on the way in, yeah?
Oh yeah, definitely. Even if we've got to do it in the car park.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Jace, what did you say?
They're on Danny, apparently. He said he buys the first round because he's not seen us yet because he's new to his role.
Well, I believe that I found some of your old stash of Prosecco, so I'll just dust off the bottles.
Even better.
Excellent. Well, Danny, fingers crossed. We look forward to definitely getting back there to the Hampton.
Yeah,
Valley Open down
definitely.
in
We'll keep
Stockton.
you posted as well. As soon as we have anything, we'll let you know.
Excellent. And you heard it here first in the chat there, everybody. Max from Ook says the drinks are on them. So there we go. I mean,
Nice one.
what are we there to argue with? Excellent. Danny, thanks for stepping in and joining us this evening. Lovely to speak
No
to you.
worries.
Always.
Cheers,
And,
guys.
no worries. We hope to be able to welcome you to the Met properly, Danny, because obviously you've sort of moved into this role while we've been on Zoom calls. So we hope to welcome you properly in person very soon. So thank you so much. Right, well, that's kind of us almost there or thereabouts for this evening. So as always, I'm going to swing over to Jace and Max for our sort of marketing innovations. We'll find out how we're getting on with everything. And we've got our fantastic Humans of the High Street Series 2 on the way. And there we go, as if by magic. Max, do you want to talk us through what you've got on the screen here?
Yeah, I'm hoping that you can all see some graphics on the screen, if that's correct. But yeah, so we've been working with Jason. We've got a new campaign that's coming out, which is in Shop Indie Street, but it's a broader version of that. And it really touches on those points that you've just made there, Richard. If we can just show you some of the graphics. It's really all about Stockton Business Improvement District, who are the representative body of 400 organisations on the high street. So it's really trying to promote that, that local message of supporting local businesses. So this campaign starts to roll out next week, doesn't it, Jace? So you'll see it in the town centre, on buildings. Just to say your point there, Richard, you're always welcome at your local. Your local is a place where you'll always find a familiar face. Really, we've really tried to capture the essence of what being local means. And the whole industry is really, high streets are becoming more independent and less homogenised. So, more of that. But we'll develop the concept further to eat and shop Indie Street. And you'll start to see more of this campaign coming through. And we're going to be doing some campaigns on a green message around having a clean and green and sustainable high street. And Jason's working with the market. We've got some branding coming out for some of the retailers as well, some hoodies and t-shirts. And then you'll see some like pin badges, and we're going to do some beer mats and all of that kind of stuff. So it's a really bright, vibrant campaign to really encourage that message of just going local and supporting your local businesses.
Amazing. I mean, the branding looks absolutely beautiful, and as you say, there's t-shirts and everything. And if someone's thinking, right, I want to get out, I want to get involved with that, I want to get the t-shirt, I want to start supporting the campaign. I mean, the shopping bags are wonderful as well. How do they get involved, Max? Is it just get in touch with you, or will you get in touch with them? I'm guessing that might be the thing.
That'll be the remit for Jason, but there's a whole scheme of other bits and pieces that we're pulling together. We've got a digital campaign running as well, and next week we're going to be out filming. We've got Humans of the High Street that we're going to revisit, and we'll be revisiting Richard and his story, how he is a year on from the lockdown. And then we've got Indie Street Stories, which is going to be a cinematic digital campaign where we're going to get some of the more hybrid independent retailers and look at their stories. So these things don't come about without the good backing of a client like Stockton Bid. So they let us come up with the ideas, and between myself, Jason, and his levy community, we come up with these ideas. So it's a shared vision for the high street. So yeah, it's all good.
Brilliant. Thanks, Max. And before we end, I mean, it's flown by already. It's almost 5 o'clock. Before we end, I will cross over to Jace for, as always, for his any final thoughts.
Yeah. Does anybody else find it totally unnerving when they're on a Zoom call and can't see themselves when someone shares the screen? Because I have absolutely no idea what I look like anymore or anything. It just absolutely unnerves me. But yeah, I think it's really important that that the Indie Street campaign, we've been running it's the similar campaign via email and the click through and things like that. So it's really important that people get behind that and that imagery. And, you know, we'll look at the pin badges and bags and all of those types of things, which is brilliant. The Humans of the High Street part 2, which Max has already mentioned, is fantastic. And I always get into trouble because I always call it something different. But there's going to be loads of stuff for people to absolutely get behind, which I think is important. The other thing is we've got our ballot coming up very soon, and it's not to shy away from those types of things. And we talk about all the great things. Stockton Bid's now been going for about nearly 5 years, which is just, the time has absolutely flown by. So all the people within our ballot area will have been given notice to ballot. And they will be having a ballot in May to see whether we actually carry on. And I know that's, you know, it's a difficult thing to end on, really, because actually it might not. I can't believe that would happen for a second. With all the amazing work that we do and the backing of our amazing businesses, we're absolutely confident we will. But it's always something that sits in the background there. So we have so much support from Max and Sam and our directors like Sean and John and our Levy community. We just need people to keep getting behind, because we do what we do for a reason, and that's to make Stockton High Street, the Independents and the Nationals more successful than they are today. And that's exactly why we get on board and do the things that we do. And we couldn't do it without a collective environment, and that's why we do what we do. We bring people together and we drive people to the high street. We try and do it. We do it with passion. And we'll keep going as long as people want us to keep going. So that's really important for us as well. And we do it for all of the businesses throughout the community, and we'll continue to do that.
Absolutely. So yeah, basically, you know, it's one of those moments, as I say, you don't want to even think about it not being there, Jace, but you know, as I say, it won't be there without everyone's support, and everyone has been so supportive over the last 5 years. So long may it continue.
Yeah, and we're massively confident that we will get a vote and it'll go on for another 5 years. But there's always that chance it won't. But, you know, with all of the hard work that everyone puts in to make our high street and other high streets as well, we don't just campaign for our high street. We are an advocate of all high streets and independent high streets. We'll be absolutely good, and we'll continue to push and strive for every independent business. So if any of our independents are talking to other people, when they get the voting papers through, please make sure that they vote yes, and just don't think it'll happen. Make sure that they vote. If you're going to vote no, don't bother voting.
Absolutely. Tick the yes box or
don't bother. Yeah, fantastic.
Perfect. Right. Jace, thank you so much. It's always lovely to get a final thought from yourself. Now, we will be back May 20th, as I mentioned earlier. Hopefully, we can fingers crossed, it might be in person. We don't know yet, but Sam and Max, Ook and Jace at Stockton Bid will let us know where it's going to be and what we're going to be doing. Hopefully, as I say, it may not be on a screen, although we'll probably all be a bit unnerved by actually seeing people in the flesh for once. Anyway, if you liked this event, we'd love you to share your feedback now on LinkedIn and all your other social medias. Just tag us in and all that, because we'd love to grow the engagement and awareness for Stockton Bid as much as we can. And obviously, look, you know, we would love to get the support as well of as many people as possible. Bookings can be found on Eventbrite, so you'll be able to swing over there and book your ticket. Big thanks to Sam at Ook there. She sits in the corner quietly in the background, managing everything, ensuring the Met runs smoothly, from promotion of it through to booking, management, technical requirements, how to do a Zoom call, how to share a screen, all that sort of stuff. So thanks always to Sam. Thanks to Max as well at Ook for coordinating the content, liaising with our contributors, and helping to shape the narrative and content that bring us all together at the Met. And of course, a huge big thank you to the beautifully now beard trimmed Jason Maxwell. It's always lovely to have you along with Jason and to share in your sort of positivity and passion every single month. And of course, we wouldn't have the Met and everything else that goes with it if it wasn't for you lot. We do massively appreciate you all coming along every single month, and it is lovely to see each and every one of you. So thank you so much for spending another hour of your time in our presence. We will see you next month. That's all that I need to say, apart from stay safe. Hope everyone manages to get out and enjoy a little bit more of our newfound freedom, and we'll see you all soon. Cheers.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Thanks, everyone.
Enjoy the sun.
Later. Bye. Bye.